Hi, I'm Mark Knight from Toolroom Records, and as part of our 10-year celebrations this year, we wanted to tell you guys the story of how it all started. I often get asked the questions, why did you call it Toolroom Records? Well, this is the reason. I'm outside my parents' house, outside the tool shed or the tool room in Maidstone, so let's go inside and show you guys how it all began. So here we are in what used to be the studio of Toolroom Records, and the story began in 2003. Like most people, I had a job, a very normal job. I worked for a cable company, in fact, with possibly the best boss in the world. I'd go into work in the morning, collect my sheet of jobs, and instead of heading to the site, I'd go straight to the studio. I'd be getting phone calls from him all day. What time are you turning up at this job? Well, I'll be working on a bass line. It was a brilliant way of funding my foray into music. So as I said, every penny that I had from the sale of my house, I invested back into building this place. And I'd had a job in construction before, so I sort of knew what I was doing. And I had good times making this. A lot of love and a lot of passion went into building this room. We had a desk here at the 48 channel Mackie desk there. I used to sit there with the computer. There was the keyboards over there, decks were there, and just behind you was the vocal booth. We had everyone from Jocelyn Brown to Rosala in putting vocals down, and some good times in there, man. We made some great records, and I honestly think this was my most creative and the time I enjoyed making music the most. There was something very passionate about being involved in the whole process of this room, from laying the first tile to laying down the first vocal. So let's give you a quick guided tour of the studio. It shouldn't take long, it's not exactly massive. Out here is where I used to keep my vinyl. I actually gave away most of my vinyl to charity, but I've still got some of the classics in here. Some great records. I really need to come back and put this on, digitise some of these. Let's have a look what we've got in here. Oh, I remember this one. I actually did this remix in here. This is Kylie Minogue, Can't Get Out of My Head. This was, as I said, remixed in this studio. And this is what gave me the idea for Your Love. In here's the vocal booth. We had everyone, as I said, from Rosala to Jocelyn Brown in it. It was certainly a very personal and cosy affair in here. This actually turned into the post room as Toolroom developed. We used to mail out all the vinyl in here. This was Pete's post desk. So there you go, there's a bit of Toolroom history. So the studio's built, I was in here, started to make records, and initially I was releasing them on other labels. And I've got to be honest, I was pretty disappointed. You know, I was forever chasing them, not getting paid, the releases weren't coming out on time, so I thought, do you know what, I could probably do this better myself. And at the time there was some real great points of reference and benchmarks in labels like Subliminal and Defected, and thought, do you know what, I could do this better myself. But I quickly realised, you know what, you can't do all this on your own. You can't make the music and be the business. And this coincided nicely with my brother, Stuart, looking to change his career. We've always been mad passionate about dance music, bought records since we were kids, went to all the nightclubs, and thought, you know what, this could be an opportunity to really forge a career out of something that we loved.
Yeah, the idea is I would always work on the business side of things, and that would leave Mark to be able to concentrate on his music. We always wanted a record company as opposed to a record label. We set ourselves a 5-year business plan, and have always worked to long-term goals and trying to set ourselves targets and reach those over a long time period.
So we're a few releases in now, but we needed that one record to put us on the map, that one record to cement Toolroom into the market, and that came in the form of Hall and Bruckheimer and myself and Martin's remix of In the Beginning. It was a massive Ibiza anthem and really launched us, you know, as I said earlier, into the market. Everyone from Eric Murillo to Pete Tong to Steve Lawler was playing it, and that really fitted what we was trying to say. You know, we wanted to find those records that spanned all genres, that sat nicely between commercial and underground. You know, how do you make a commercial record with credibility? And that's what we strove for. You know, we strove to hit that market right in the middle. So if we ever had a mission statement, it was, let's put out records that are real get out of jail cards, that go-to record when you needed something that was going to tear the roof off a club. And that's what we've always stuck to. That's always been the mantra of Toolroom Records.
Even though we had a plan, we were kind of flying by the seat of our pants a little bit. And I think it was time then really that we needed to bring in a third member. And that was Owen Ingram, who worked locally at a record shop called Plastic Surgery at a time, which was a cool cut shop, a really admired shop. And Owen had a wealth of knowledge when it came to music, artists, and the whole kind of music industry. So he was a great guy to kind of get on board and help us take it to the next level.
So it's really exciting times. There were three of us now, you know, me doing the music, Stuart running the business, and then Owen bringing all of his knowledge and skill set to the party. And it was great, you know. I remember we'd be sitting here, I'd be working, also they're running. And I remember the very first day we got our first comp request, you know, it was £200, but that was a real big deal, you know. We were on the map, we'd arrived, we were in the game. And it was exciting, you know, things were changing really quickly. As Stuart said, it was the start of the digital era and there was lots of opportunities. The record industry went from making music from physical sales, going into a shop, I want to buy a record, to downloads, to streams, you know. The market grew exponentially and it was really an exciting time to be part of that, and we embraced that. We wanted to be revolutionary and forward thinking on how we approach things, you know. As I said earlier, there were a lot of record labels that got stuck at that point, that couldn't adapt, that couldn't move with the times, and it was a real fantastic opportunity to be in music.
Musically, we were starting to make waves with the records Mark spoke about. It was my role in the company to actually monetize those products, monetize those records that Mark was spending a lot of time and effort going out and signing. It was a tough thing to do back in 2003. You're talking a time where physical records and vinyl, as we were selling them, was on a decline, and it was really the birth of the digital era. So I was in a position where I was stuck between selling old product, which is vinyl, and then with one eye looking towards the future, and looking how we could get involved in the whole birth and creation of this whole digital landscape.
As Stuart said, it was tough times, you know. Distributors would be going down every week, you know. It was hard to make a buck in the industry, and it was sort of the demise of a lot of record labels, you know. If people didn't move with the times, they were in a lot of trouble, and we were very fortunate that I was out on the road DJing, and every penny I earned DJing went back into the business, and that used to pay us a very measly salary every month, you know. But that's the kind of investment we had to make in the future. As Stuart said earlier, it was a 5-year game plan, you know. We knew we weren't going to turn it around in a year, but the foundations were there, the business model were there, and we were dedicated and passionate in making Toolroom work. So that was 2003, and we've given you a brief history on how Toolroom Records started. Hopefully we've got across to you how much dedication, commitment and investment that is required to make a record company. But let's fast forward, it's 2013 now, and thanks to you guys, we're still here, and here's to the next 10 years.
This is Toolroom 10. A decade of hits brought to you by one of the world's most influential dance labels. 100 definitive club tracks mixed by Mark Knight. Featuring deadmau5, Teed, David Guetta, Tiesto, Underworld and many more. 100 tracks, 10 years, one iconic label. 10 from Toolroom Records. Available on iTunes now.